Now the next stage is to wet felt our picture. So we've created a design using woolen fibres which are dry, and also lots of effect fibres such as the silk and the Angelina fibre. And by wetting them and massaging them with hot soapy water, the fibres will combine together to create a fabric. And this is called the fulling process. Now to protect the picture so that everything doesn't move around, I'm going to put a piece of netting over the top. Just like that. Once it's on, try not to move it again because the fibres will move along with the netting. So you can use this, which is tulle from haberdashery, or you can use old net curtains for this. And then we're going to put on hot soapy water. Now for the soap, I'm using grated olive oil soap. I'm just going to sprinkle it on. If you don't have any of this, just add some washing up detergent to your water, and that'll do the same job. The olive oil soap is a little bit kinder if you've got sensitive skin. So I've put on about a teaspoonful of olive oil soap, and then I'm going to suck up some water using a ball browse. Now the ball browse, it's very handy. It works a bit like a pipette, and it's used by bonsai growers for watering their plants. So if you just depress it and suck up some water, you're then able to spray it over the picture. If you don't have one of these, you can use a sports top water bottle, which will do the job well as well. So I'm going to suck the water up. So it's now in the bulb of the ball browse, and just going to squirt it all over. Not too much, because you'll find that it goes everywhere and gets very messy. So that should be enough, and we can tell when there's enough in because the work will flatten. Then I'm going to use my fulling tool. There are lots of different designs. You can get wooden ones. If you don't have a fulling tool, then just use some scrunched up bubble wrap instead, and that'll do the job just as well. So very, very gently to begin with, following the line of my picture, I'm just going to rub it. So I'm following that silk that I put into the sky. Can you see all the moisture has made it flatten down? And there where I've got my cornfield, just very gently, I'm going to go over where the flowers are. We can get a lot more firm with this later on. And then where I've got the bottom, I do think I need a little bit more water on there, so I'm just going to spray some along the bottom. There we go. It's always handy to have some kitchen towel handy, just in case it starts to flood on the table. There we are. Still a bit dry on the bottom. You never quite know. I think it's because we've got more wool on that bit. Some more on. There, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to give that a good rub. So this is fulling the felt. So it's warm, soapy water. You can see how the fibres are all starting to react. And when you've been doing it just for about a minute, what I normally do is I lift up the netting just to check to see if anything's moved. Now that little black bit's moved there to the centre of my poppy. I'm just going to recenter it a little bit. They look okay. Let's move that one down. There we are. That one I quite like there. And replace the netting. There we are. And just keep rubbing with the fulling tool or the bubble wrap that you've got. So starting to create a nice foam on top, which will all help the fulling process. And already the fibres will have started to knit together, but it's nowhere near ready yet. So I'm trying to get all the way around the sides, and I'll keep going with this for another 5 minutes. Now that I've finished rubbing the wool with the fulling tool, I'm going to move over to a roller to give it a good rolling. Now you can get wooden rollers, which are far more traditional, but I've got what's just a massage roller, and this works really well. So whichever way you roll your picture, that's the way that the wool will shrink. So we need to roll it in all directions. And it's quite nice because you can see the picture underneath. And if you look there, you can see how the silk's reacting to the fulling process, how it's getting that lovely wiggly line there. So fold it that way. And because you've got it on the mat, it's easy to turn. So we're just going to turn it and roll it in the other direction. Being careful not to overlap the wool. That's it. So again, we're going to keep doing this for about 5 minutes. And then the next stage of the process will be rolling it in a towel. Now we're going to start the final stage of the wet felting process. If you have a little look at what you've been doing, you can see that it's started to turn into a fabric, but it's still not quite there yet. And this is still a little bit wet as well, but I'll show you what to do if yours is too wet. So we've still got the bamboo mat and the bubble wrap, the work and the netting. Now I'm going to get a piece of pipe insulation and I'm going to roll it all up together like a Swiss roll. I find that using the pipe insulation helps with it for rolling later on. And getting the bowl, I'm just going to squeeze out any excess water so that when we start rolling it doesn't go all over the table. And also if the work's too wet, the fibres will just roll over each other and they won't felt properly. That's got the excess water out. Then I'm going to lay out a towel, just a small hand towel, and roll up the bamboo mat within it. What I normally do is just put it over the top like that and then start to roll. There we are. And we need to roll equally in each direction, so we're going to do it in 4 directions, starting this way, and I'm going to give it 50 rolls. 1, 2. Keep going like this. When I've got to 50, you just need to open it out, open the bamboo mat and the picture from underneath, take off the netting, just do it carefully like that. It might have stuck slightly, but it's okay. There we are. I'm just double checking that I haven't got any creases in. Now there was a little crease there, but that's gone now. So you lift up just the bubble wrap and the picture, turn it 90 degrees, so it's a quarter turn. Put the netting back over, roll it in the roller, and then again in the towel. So you're going to repeat that process 4 times, rolling for 50 rolls in each direction. So each time you're going to give it a quarter turn. So I'll let you get on with that and we'll be back again soon. Now I've finished rolling the felt and it's time to unwrap it. There it is, looking lovely. Just put these out of the way. Right, well I can tell from the felt that it feels quite robust. But the way of checking whether it's ready, whether it's been wet felted properly, is just to check underneath. And what I normally do from experience is just roll my fingers over the fibres, rub them over, and if the fibres move then it needs some more rolling, but these aren't moving and it tells me that the felt's ready. Now if you over felt your felt and you roll it too much, then it shrinks too much and you lose the definition of your picture. But this one's just right. So I now need to rinse it. So I'll take it downstairs and I'll rinse it in cold water under the tap. Then I'll put it in the bottom of the sink and pour on some hot water from the kettle. And then I'll run some more cold water onto it until I'm able to pick it up and give it a really good squeeze. So it doesn't matter when you're rinsing your felt and you're getting rid of the soap that you actually roll it up like this, because you're not going to harm it. It's been through quite a vicious process anyway. So then it'll be time to dry it, and as I'm short of time, I'm going to dry it with my hairdryer. But if you've got more time, put it on the radiator, or you can leave it overnight airing. If you look at this, it's a little bit crumpled. So when it's dry, I shall iron the back using a piece of kitchen roll underneath to protect the ironing board. Now you can iron it on quite a hot iron, but don't iron the front, because this lovely stellina fibre here, that will disintegrate and turn to dust. The Angelina fibre, it's fine to iron that, but that would actually turn, it would either stick to your iron without baking parchment, or it would start to turn to a fabric. So that's why we iron it on the back. Alright, so I'm going to go and do that, and I'll get back to you in a few minutes. The stage of wet felting's finished now. My picture's now dry. So at this stage, if you're happy with your picture, you can then leave it and frame it. You can put a little frame over. It does look pretty. Or you can go on and use needle felting techniques to enhance it some more. Now some people like to frame the picture showing the edges, so if that's the case, you might just want to pull them out a little bit, because the wool's stretchy and you're not going to harm it, but you can straighten out the edges this way. And it is nice to see the raw edges if you get it framed properly. And that's the finished picture.